Mom, when's he coming back?
He doesn't actually know.
I love you, Dad.
Love you, darling. We'll see you guys soon, okay?
Safe travels.
All right, see ya.
I'm Kevin O'Connor. I work with a team at this old house that rebuilds old homes. I'm on a trip to meet another team. Most of them spent years volunteering to serve their country. Now, they volunteer to rebuild lives. When people run away from disaster, these are the men and women who run towards it. Their mission is to help the neediest. They call themselves Team Rubicon. On January 12, 2010, in the late afternoon, a massive earthquake hit one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere.
A major disaster may be unfolding right now in Haiti, hit today by a powerful earthquake.
I'm watching this disaster unfold and feel an urge to help. I'm drawing parallels between what I'm seeing on the ground and the experiences that I had in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Jake Wood had been out of the Marines for just 60 days.
I looked at my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and I said, I think I should go down there. And so I started calling Marines that I'd served with. And we ended up getting a team together. There were the four of us, 3 veterans and a firefighter.
What they didn't know at the time is that this small squad of volunteers would grow to over 100,000.
The mentality was, let's get down there, help as many people as we can for as long as we can, and then come home intact.
The first hurdle was actually getting into Haiti. With the airport out of business, their only option was to fly into the Dominican Republic and cross the mountains.
Right before we actually left to fly to the Dominican Republic, we made this decision that, hey, we should name this operation, you know, and a very military thing to do.
For his team, crossing into Haiti reminded them of a 1st century BC point of no return faced by Julius Caesar.
We fell upon this idea of the story of Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon. We said, hey, if we can get across the border, there's nothing that's gonna stop us. And so, you know, we said, okay, it's Operation Rubicon. And then we kind of pivoted and said, no, come on, it's just the 4 of us. Just call it Team Rubicon, that's it.
With no supply chain or logistical support, the newly minted Team Rubicon partnered with a local Catholic church in the heart of Port-au-Prince, where they quickly set up a base of operations.
You know, you could hear people wailing in the streets, dead bodies alongside the road. And it was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
So we have about 5 or 6 amputations on the wait list right now.
Over the course of about 20 days on the ground, their little team of 4 increased to 8, and eventually swelled to almost 60 volunteers.
Okay.
We treated hundreds, if not thousands, of patients, and more than that, you know, we inspired and launched this movement that would become an organization.
After Haiti, Team Rubicon realized that their military experience was a key differentiator in how they operated.
Strike teams Alpha, Bravo, Charlie will conduct debris removal.
The veteran brings, skills and leadership and safety and process adherence. Those are incredibly important as you move forward in a disaster area.
2 years after their first deployment, TR was a modern-day little engine that could, crisscrossing the country responding to disaster after disaster. But relief work is not cheap, and TR was bootstrapping operations with small donations.
We felt like we were really starting to identify a niche that we were adding a ton of value in, but we still hadn't yet been able to convince foundations and corporations and donors to back us. We often have said at Team Rubicon, there's a dozen things more important to us than money, but they all cost money.
But then, a superstorm was brewing off the coast of New York and New Jersey, and with it came a challenge and an opportunity. Sandy became one of the most destructive storms of all time, producing the highest waves ever recorded in the Western Atlantic. Its deadly floods destroyed entire neighborhoods.
Superstorm Sandy in New York was a moment that we really bet on ourselves.
Taking what meager resources they had, Team Rubicon wagered that an all-out operation would prove to donors that this organized approach to disaster relief would pay off.
We're going to deploy as many of these volunteers as we can, and we're going to believe that we're going to execute, that someone's going to notice, and that somebody is going to back us. And then we got a call from Goldman Sachs. We're going to deploy as many of these volunteers as we can, and we're going to believe that we're going to execute, that someone's going to notice, and that somebody is going to back us. And then we got a call from Goldman Sachs, one of the most iconic, investment banks on Wall Street, and we'd never spoken to them before, and they just said, we keep talking to people in the city asking who's doing the best work on the ground right now, and Team Rubicon's name keeps coming up. We'd love to support with an initial $250,000 investment. And, to put that in perspective at the time, that was half our annual operating budget.
While Superstorm Sandy attracted big donors, it would take another disaster, Hurricane Harvey.
Most of America's fourth largest city is underwater right now,
to move the organization one more step forward.
When people see disaster wherever they are, and they begin to connect that there's an organization where they can contribute, we'll see people sign up.
Sign up they did. Soon, thousands of new volunteers were ready to help with the Houston recovery.
We're trying to assemble the trailers, and getting them to Houston and the surrounding communities to serve was the biggest mountain we'd ever climb.
If you've ever climbed a mountain, right, you know what a false horizon is, right? You're looking upward, you see what you think is the peak, you're climbing towards it, and you get to that point on the climb, and you realize, actually, there's a peak beyond it. The organization's been full of false horizons. We came back from Haiti, and we thought, oh my God, someday we might have 1,000 volunteers. And then Sandy hit, and we had a $2.5 million budget and 2,500 volunteers. Here we are. 150,000 volunteers responding to literally hundreds of disasters a year. And that's what matters most.
The organization has not only grown in size, but also in their reach. They have operation centers across the country monitoring weather in real time, so they're ready to respond the moment a disaster strikes. 13 years after that first deployment to Haiti, a simple shirt had taken on a powerful meaning.
We got back from Haiti, a ragtag group, no uniforms, no nothing. We said, hey, let's get matching t-shirts. Let's try to look professional. We went to the clearance rack. The only shirt that they had enough quantity of in the sizes that we needed was heather gray t-shirts. Suddenly, this gray shirt was the official Team Rubicon uniform.
Hi, my name is Steve.
My name is Jeff.
My name's Jen Walker.
My name is Alice.
I'm Jarrett Brown.
I'm Raymond Moore.
My name is Carrot.
I'm Craig Cooper. I've been with Team Rubicon for 7 years.
10 years.
6 years.
5 years.
And I've been a gray shirt for 18 months.
Today, hundreds of thousands of gray shirts have been worn while responding to disasters across the globe.
The power of a gray shirt, the power of identifying with a group of people like-minded and, in action is something really powerful.
So powerful that the volunteers themselves often go through a transformation simply by putting on the uniform.
At the end of the day, our mission is to help these other people. But we know full well that in doing that, a lot of folks are becoming a better version of themselves.
I appreciate it so much.
Gray shirt is a person who's got heart. You see a lot of selfishness in the world. Be surrounded by people who volunteer their time energy, safety, actually, to help total strangers. There's nothing really more touching than that.
I don't even know why I cry at this all the time. I feel like such a punk.
When I was 17 years old, I wanted to save the world. Now I'm 43 years old, and I'm finally saving the world. One homeowner at a time, one family at a time.
I put this on. It means I'm coming. When I put this shirt on, it means I'm coming to help, and I'm bringing gray shirts with me. And you don't have to worry.
We want to be there, you know, as long as the work is meaningful for the volunteers.
We do accept hugs.
Okay.
We do accept hugs.
Our goal is to stay there as long as we can until the work is done.
And the work is about to begin on their largest operation to date. In late summer and fall, Team Rubicon is on high alert. It's hurricane season.
Hurricane Ian is moving in our direction and likely to make landfall.
On September 26, the 9th storm of the 2022 season became a hurricane, Hurricane Ian. Spawned in the Central Caribbean, it brought heavy rains and surf to Jamaica before turning north and striking Cuba as a Category 3 storm. Forecasters predicted it would intensify as it approached Florida. Tampa was its target.
Not necessarily what we wanted to see.
Evacuations were ordered for 2.5 million residents.
This is going to be potentially the worst-case scenario for the Tampa Bay area. You have got to make sure that you are out of the path of this storm.
In Tampa, those who stayed behind frantically prepped for the storm, gathering supplies and filling sandbags. 135 miles south of Tampa sits the beach community of Fort Myers. Believing Ian would strike far to the north, many residents decided it was safe to stay put. But then, Ian did what hurricanes so often do.
This storm has been really kind of a nightmare to track.
It veered off its predicted path and took a hard turn to the right. At 3:05 p.m. on September 28th, Ian made landfall as a dangerous Category 4 storm just 20 miles west of Fort Myers, where many residents were unprepared to withstand the wrath of the storm. Ian barreled ashore, battering the area with 150-mile-per-hour sustained winds, heavy rain, and a devastating storm surge, flooding areas along the coast with water up to 18 feet above ground level.
The governor was just talking in Charlotte County and used the word biblical to describe the storm surge.
One for the history books, Ian caused over $100 billion worth of damage in Florida and became the state's deadliest storm in 87 years.
The whole building was shaking. I mean, there's just stuff going everywhere. I've never seen damage like this. I've lived here my whole life. It's unreal.
Florida's Lee County was the hardest hit.
The damage is astronomical. It's beyond belief. Pretty much most of our belongings are gone.
Everything's just tore up. Boats are in yards, trucks are in yards, all the houses gone.
Team Rubicon was prepared.
Hurricane Ian would turn out to be one of our biggest operations. We had gray shirts located all over Florida. It would be 5 different operating bases. You know, we had to bring hundreds of volunteers.
Well, we couldn't get in because the road was washed out. We just don't know. Is there anything left?
Hurricane Ian devastated areas of southwestern Florida, including Matlacha, a small, tight-knit island community of under 800 people. One of them is Mona, a local realtor who lives on the island with her dog. Mona decided to stay and ride out the storm. But as Ian just started to come ashore, her roof began to leak. Frightened, she made her way over the bridge to a client's home in nearby Cape Coral. When the rain and wind subsided, Mona tried to get home. But with so much damage, the road connecting the mainland to the island was flooded and impassable. So Mona did the only thing she could: wait. Wait and wonder if her home was still there.
The bridge to Matlacha, they think, might be compromised. Our crews, though, did make it to the barrier, the roadblock, where people are being turned around, people desperate to see if their homes made it through the storm.
Crews are diligently working to try to assess the situation, find any people in need of rescue. The bridges have been knocked out.
Then, finally, a few days later, she returned home to the unimaginable. 4 feet of water infiltrated the house. Sewage had backed up, and there was mold everywhere. She was left with no choice but to live in her car.
I don't want to impose on people, and so I've been staying in my car, which I have a lot more empathy now for displaced people. I mean, you just never know their story. You just never know.
Team Rubicon set up operations in nearby Fort Myers, where volunteer Amy Wang arrived as part of the first wave of gray shirts on the ground after Ian.
I heard about Mona from an elderly couple that was more concerned about Mona than themselves.
When the couple, Mona's neighbors, described the extent of the damage at Mona's house, Amy knew she had to help.
It's like hard to wrap your head around this.
Amy, her strike team partner Diana, and a team of gray shirts headed to Mona's house, which 2 weeks after the storm was still filled with mud, wet drywall, and damaged possessions.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine.
Their mission? Clean up and clear out a lifetime of memories.
Oh, there it goes right here.
And from the moment Mona met the gray shirts, they instantly discovered things they had in common.
I'm gonna call my friend, and she is gonna wash your dog.
Thank you.
Mona, take
But
the
you know
help.
what?
Take the
She's
help.
from
We got
Milwaukee.
you.
I know.
And I'm from Milwaukee.
and she wants to wash. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the house, huh? My grandparents bought here in 1958. They built in 1961. And I bought here, and I must apologize because my brain is like scrambled eggs. I think it's been now that I've owned this house for about 5 years. Okay, so you're gonna need a light.
You want a mask.
But it's all filled with mud. This is all mold, because we couldn't get in because the road washed out. But my pictures, you know, the Saints made it.
There are people who are so worse off than I am.
This is where it all started leaking. There was a sewage backup, and it came up in the tub. It came higher in the tub than it did, you know, in other places.
We gotta get cleaning, Mona. We gotta get cleaning.
Yeah, it's all gotta go. There's mold spores coming out of my leather furniture, and
I know she's had a long history in this area. Mona, I see it looks like you have some old pictures here.
Yeah.
Are you trying to save these?
That's my mom. She was like a little Shirley Temple. She had that accordion. She'd play it on roller skates.
Going through her house, it's difficult because you see the memories, like the photo of her mom. I think it's important to save those things.
Amy, she's really got it in her soul. I mean, she's in there right now, squeegeeing. She's for real.
That's the hardest part for me, is like just having all this kindness. And you guys have been fantastic.
These folks aren't gonna have power for probably a little while now, but it's just us and our hands, our arms and legs doing the best we can.
And the legs are from an old cheese factory in Wisconsin.
This organization, it's a brotherhood and a sisterhood of people that bond together to do the right thing. I know that this is a process and it's going to take time, but there's great people here doing wonderful things.
So I am headed to my first deployment with Team Rubicon. They are down in Southwest Florida, responding to Hurricane Ian. That's where I joined Operation Sunshine Strong. I got an email. I was told that I was ready to deploy, so headed south. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really have any idea what to expect. Don't really know where I'm going to be staying. They say they got a role for everybody, so I guess they're going to throw me right into the mix and I'll get to work. So the cots are nice, not sleeping on the floor. Air mattress, took that from my son. Sleeping bag, took that from my other son. And then 2 pairs of pants, 3 gray shirts, flip-flops, dob kit, good to go. All right, well, first day here with TR at the FOB, Forward Operating Base. We've got morning meeting, and I guess this is where we get our orders for the day. Actually pretty fired up for it.
Good morning.
Morning.
We do 2 things. We do hard work, but we also do heart work. Proud of each and every one of you guys. Now let's get out and get some shit done.
Today, I'm assigned to a Sawyer team led by Dean Wagner. Dean's an Iraq War combat veteran, and like so many other gray shirts I've met, Dean's experience with Team Rubicon has transformed the lives of the people he's helped, but that's not the only transformation.
The whole reason I ended up joining the Army was for my daughter.
How young was she when you deployed?
She was 7 when I first joined the Army, and tried to tell her I was doing it for her. And a big factor was she had a career day in elementary school. She didn't ask me to come, but she came home that day and she was excited to tell me about all these other fathers that she had met there and how interesting they were and what they did. And at that point, I knew I wanted to do something to make her proud of me. The only real way I knew how to do that was to join the Army.
Dean served 8 years in the Army, including 2 tours in Iraq.
I spent a lot of time as a gunner on top a big Humvee, manning a machine gun with a big belt of ammunition and wearing head-to-toe armor. We would roll through these little mohallas, or these neighborhoods, and the people would just look up at me, and they would look at me like I was evil, like I was this harbinger of death, destruction. And it made me feel like, you know, some sort of demon. And it sunk in, and I carried that with me, and I carried it home, and I pushed people away because I just didn't feel like I was a good person.
And you pushed family away too?
I pushed everyone away, but yes, family, my daughter.
How'd that go over?
Didn't go over well, you know. Our relationship still struggles to this day because of it.
It would take destructive acts of nature, like Hurricane Ian, to help Dean through the trauma of post-traumatic stress. The Category 4 hurricane leaves the landscape a tangle of debris. The first challenge for survivors is clearing out the destruction. To help tackle that mess, Team Rubicon sends out Sawyers and Swampers, a squad equipped not with machine guns, but chainsaws and pickup trucks. Sawyers use chainsaws to break down debris, and the Swampers clear it. So we've got a team going out there today. You're our team leader.
Correct.
How big's the team?
We have, including you, 6 people on our team.
So 5.5?
Everybody has a role. You are a full team member just like anybody else.
What do you guys call it, swamping?
Swamping,
I'm swamping today.
That's what I started out doing, my very first op. And I enjoy swamping. You're just moving stuff as the Sawyers cut. and piling it to wherever it needs to go, usually on the side of the road, to be picked up by other people.
Today, we're helping a homeowner who can't afford to remove downed trees on his property.
Well, let's show us where your property ends.
Right, I will show you.
John Norwood is a CI1. That's a chainsaw instructor. Today, he's the spotter on site.
So you're Sawyer.
Yep.
I'm the spotter. Kevin's our swamper.
Yep.
He's working for me right now.
So how are we getting started?
We work in pairs, but the guy with the saw, he's the Sawyer. He's got a 6-foot circle around him. Because you can imagine I'm holding a saw.
Yep.
That's what we call the blood bubble.
Oh.
You never go into the blood bubble.
One thing we definitely don't want to do in disaster response is become part of the disaster. So stay focused on safety, and we'll be safe, and we'll get this done.
And I give everybody permission to apply a tourniquet.
I give everyone permission to apply a tourniquet to me.
You both can apply tourniquets to me. Stop it as fast as you can.
Get her done. Hot
saw!
I soon had a whole new respect for swampers and sawyers. These men and women risk injury to help people who can't do the work themselves.
Life-changing events.
Yeah.
Can we go back to that?
Sure. So, in Iraq, I saw myself as a bad thing, a bad person. And, and I tried to drown it, drugs, alcohol, that sort of thing. And, I just spiraled into a dark place.
Life-changing events.
Yeah.
Can we go back to that?
Sure. So, in Iraq, I saw myself as a bad thing, a bad person. And, and I tried to drown it, drugs, alcohol, that sort of thing. And, I just spiraled into a dark place.
And what was the spark that started you to pull out of that?
Meeting my wife.
Gina put Dean in touch with a Vietnam vet who also dealt with post-traumatic stress.
So talking to him, he encouraged me to start seeking help in the VA, and that there's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help.
Even after meeting his wife Gina and getting help from the VA, Dean was still searching for a greater purpose.
And so I was just kind of just looking for something to fill a void in my life. And I'd heard about Team Rubicon.
And what was the attraction when whatever you saw about Team Rubicon?
Well, I knew it was founded by vets, and again, I was just looking for some type of camaraderie, because I always felt like in the Army I was a part of something. My first deployment with Team Rubicon was to Operation Amberjack. It was for Hurricane Michael. It was the most destruction I'd ever seen in my life. It's shocking, but it's a call to action. Something bad happened here. What can I do to help? Being my first op, I didn't know much. I felt kind of out of place, like maybe I don't belong here. But they made me a team leader. They put me in charge of a roof tarping crew, and I'm thinking there must be some mistake, and I tried to talk to somebody, and they're like, "You were a team leader in the Army, right?" And I was like, "I was." "You used to be a roofer too, right?" I was like, "I was." "You can lead a team of gray shirts to go tarp some roofs then?" It's like, "Well, yeah, put it like that, I guess you're right." That started instilling some confidence in me. To me, it was incredibly fulfilling. And meeting these homeowners, people coming up to me in tears and just in gratitude and hugging me and calling me an angel. I'd never been called an angel my whole life. And it really got to me, and it changed my perspective. I began to think, all right, maybe I'm not this bad. Maybe I can bring something to this world that's positive. Driving home, I'd pull over the side of the road and I bawled for like 10 minutes.
Really?
And I hadn't cried. Last time I had cried was 2006, when I was saying goodbye to my family and going to Iraq. I believed I wouldn't be coming back. 12 years of bottled up emotion just exploded. I just bawled for like 10, 15 minutes, and it was such an amazing release. And afterwards, I mean, I felt so much better than, you know, weeks and months of therapy or medication or anything that the VA threw at me.
When people ask me about Team Rubicon, that's how I like to frame it. Team Rubicon took me from being a demon and turned me into an angel. But everything's turned around now, and I'm a different person.
My wife sees it, my daughter. As soon as Dean starts talking about Team Rubicon, you know, there's just this, he just lights up, you know, and he becomes this different person. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, it's quite a story, Dean.
Thank you. Glad I could share it.
Glad you did.
Appreciate you taking the time to listen.
Appreciate you letting me work next to you.
You make a damn fine gray shirt.
Well, I can swamp a little bit.
All
Ready?
Right. Yeah, let's get back to it.
Let's get back to it.
Team Rubicon's mission is providing relief to communities, big and small, affected by a disaster or crisis. To respond to these disasters, they call upon their 150,000 volunteers to answer the call and deploy. The organization was founded by veterans, and while veterans do make up 70% of the gray shirts, the number of civilians deploying is increasing every year, and now numbers over 50,000. While on Operation Sunshine Strong in Fort Myers, I met a unique pair of civilians helping to answer the call to help the victims of Hurricane Ian. Father and son, Chris and Caden Flick.
On Friday, on my way down here, I talked to him, you know, that night, and he's like, I signed up. And I'm like, you're gonna love this, man. You're just gonna love it.
His stories convinced you that you wanted to give it a try?
Oh, yeah, and I've got a desk job, and so this gets me out of behind my desk and out of my house and doing things that mean something to people.
Really, really loved the concept and the thought of being able to give very directly. Where are we gonna do that? Very active. You know, you get a lot of very instant gratification from your time. So
it scratches that service itch.
Good? Yep. Here we go.
And this father-son duo brings a lot of experience to their service.
Oh, I think what you're saying. So using the step as the...
Yeah, so using the step, and then as we come this way, we'll just extend it to a demon on both sides so you can get better access. We've been doing stuff like this for pretty much as long as I can really remember. So
yeah.
It's not much different.
Yeah. You guys work together a lot?
Yeah.
Well, so the smell of sheetrock dust is what?
Yeah, that's my joke, is that, you know, the smell of sheetrock dust is the smell of home.
What are you doing, Dad?
A whole bunch of remodeling and help, and you know, it's like when we built our garage. You know, when he was about 12 or so, you know, he was the one at the chop saw cutting all the 2x6s. You know, every board on that shop came through his hands, and he's been doing projects like that for a really long time. And we really enjoy doing work like that together. Can you reach the last glass up at the top, kid? On the corner cabinet.
Even with all their experience, they worried if they would be accepted into a group made up mostly of veterans.
Neither of you guys are in the military, so you're the kick-ass civilian component of this.
Yeah. Right? When I saw that moniker, kick-ass civilian, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be accepted into TR, okay, but...
Do you feel accepted?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
We're all gray shirts.
This gray shirt has a work ethic that I find in our youth sometimes lacking. So, Caden, if you step out here for a moment, please. Yeah.
The whole philosophy of everybody has a role, and you know, they're very welcoming to you know, everybody that I've met has been very kind. So
yeah. I've had the same experience as well. You know, I was sort of thinking, it was going to be, you know, mostly vets and that's the military sort of mentality. But I honestly, you have no idea. When the gray shirt's on, you don't know if the person's former military, if they're civilian, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Although I will say that every once in a while they do tip their hand and they call me sir.
Yeah.
Looks pretty clean on the inside, luckily.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't look bad. Except for that one corner. Good working with a couple kick-ass civilians. I like it.
I think I'm gonna go home and talk to my son. But for right now, I guess back to the fob and clean the tools.
Sounds good.
Well, I haven't been a gray shirt for too long, but I'm starting to realize that Team Rubicon has got their own language. They've got a whole host of acronyms and sayings that reflect the culture and help us sort of get everything done.
ROE?
OP, op, means operation. FOBs are great.
First one I heard was FOB, Forward Operating Base, and that's where we sleep and eat every day, where we gather in the morning and we return to at night. But FOB, well, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
So this is my dirty gray shirt prop. The name is acronym. One of my pet peeves is throwing an acronym out there and everybody sits there nodding their head that they understand what it is. You chuck this at me, it will remind me if you threw an acronym out.
And your role specifically with going to each one of these sites?
Well, I'm the RESL, so my job...
Wait, whoa.
RESL. It's a resource unit leader.
Resource unit leader,
Right.
RESL, okay.
GSD?
GSD, right, get shit done.
You know, we're here to get shit done. You know, why else would you come out here?
We will often pair get shit done with don't screw it up. Sometimes spoken more colorfully than that.
Blue skies. Training and making sure we're ready to go when gray skies happen and when everybody needs our help.
Favorite one is actually MCC, which is Mobile Command Center.
Are you the IC?
I am.
An IC is an incident commander, the person who has the responsibility and is empowered to lead the volunteers.
SITREP, S-I-T-R-E-P. Basically, we come back and give a sit rep of what we've done throughout the day. Like tonight, we'll do a whole synopsis of the week, or a sit rep in this case.
You pick up the language pretty quickly if you just pay attention, so it's very cool.
JIC, Joint Information Center. Wait, why am I talking, right? Because really, my job is to shut up and listen. So I'll do that now.
It's been 2 months since a team of gray shirts first helped Mona. Her home, located on the tiny island of Matlacha, was badly damaged by Hurricane Ian's devastating storm surge, filling it with 4 feet of water, mold, and sewage. Mona was left with no choice but to live in her car. There was a long road ahead for Mona in order to make her home livable. And now that I'm boots on the ground, it's time for me to see if she's been able to get back into her house.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Kevin.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm tired. I'm okay.
Bet you're tired.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe a good day because it's trash pickup?
I've never been so excited to see a dump truck in my life. It's
Makes a
just
big
like,
difference,
yeah,
right?
It's wonderful.
Is this the car you used?
Yeah, I slept in there. And
Wow.
I was really fortunate. I was in there for about a week and a half and it was just packed full of whatever I could take. And
Did you put fortunate and I was in the car for a week and a half in the same sentence? How is that fortunate?
well, you know, when you pulled in, you saw the houses that are completely gone.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's
mean,
all relative,
I have
right?
a house.
Can I see it?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on in.
Oh, yeah. Work in progress, right?
Yeah, it is. We've made a lot of progress. The flood was about a little over 4 feet, and then it seeped up into the drywall. And then the road washed out, so we couldn't get back.
It's all right.
And everything was moldy.
Yeah.
Everything turned to mold.
Instantly, right?
I'm sorry,
You don't have to apologize.
but nothing like this has ever happened.
What was it like living in the car? You had pets with you?
My dog, yeah.
Anything else with you? Just
propane tank, a couple of firearms, you know. I mean,
good for you.
Hey, it's Florida, you know.
And then Team Rubicon shows up.
They were awesome. I mean, they got dirty. They worked their tails off. And I just had to give it up and just let them take over. They cleared everything out of there and they washed the floor. And then I was sleeping in a lawn chair then. And
From a car to a lawn chair.
yeah, but it was, you know.
Improvements.
It was.
Baby
Hey,
steps.
It was improving. So, I mean, I was inside.
So they got you stable. They got you back in a part of the house at least.
Yes, that's where I am right now.
They got some demolition done and cleaning done?
They did.
Had they not come?
I don't know where it is.
You doing the work yourself?
I am.
Will you show me something?
Yeah.
What have you worked on?
Well, I've painted this room.
Okay. So this is coming back.
Yeah. Oh, there's Gina. Gina Lolovicina. Gina. Yes. You want to meet her? There.
Hello. Oh.
She's very friendly.
Good heavens. Hello, Gina.
Oh, you get
Thank
kisses.
you. What is the plan going forward?
I would like to have a kitchen again, and a sink, and then eventually I put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
We're glad you're safe. Glad you're back.
Thank you.
We wish you luck.
Thank you.
I know one person who's not going to leave you.
No.
Here.
She is just a doll.
One of the incredible cultural, events that we have is something called a campfire.
Hey, y'all, listen up. The other day, I got a phone call, said, hey, do y'all want to go down to Florida and hang out with all the cool kids? I got here as quick as I could, and I'm glad I'm here with you guys, all right?
At the end of the day, people gather around, and it's an opportunity for people to just kind of say what they saw and what they did and what was meaningful to them.
These campfires have been part of TR culture ever since the organization's beginnings in 2010, on that mission to Haiti that started it all.
We had a campfire the first night of our first mission in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. We spent all day working at a camp full of survivors. It was just extraordinarily emotional and mentally taxing for that day. And somebody made the comment, I could really use an ice cold beer right now. And one of our interpreters that we'd hired for the day said, you want beer? I said, yeah. He goes, you got cash? I'm like, yeah. He came back, an hour later, and sure enough, he had a crate of ice cold Presidente beer, and we started a campfire. It just became this, this moment of let's get these things off our chest. What happened today that you'll never forget, and then it became a thing.
And that thing has become an important part of daily life for every person that dons a gray shirt.
Carry that on as part of our culture. It's a time for us to sit and talk to each other, talk about your experiences for the day, get to know each other, and a chance for us to sit and unwind.
This opportunity to synthesize that impact is just really powerful.
We had a great day.
Hey!
Because y'all stepped into the arena.
Thank God we had an engineer.
I'd like to thank my entire team.
I appreciate you all. So much brain power.
We are having teams go start working on those veterans' homes. And I just want you guys to know from the bottom of my heart, as a disabled veteran myself, the fact that we are able to keep these vets in their homes just because we are here to help them literally does something to my heart that I didn't even know was possible.
I thank you for that, and I'm proud of each and every one of you for what you're doing for this community.
And tonight's campfire took an unexpected turn.
We had one gray shirt in particular who was brand new to our team and brand new to the organization that stood out.
We had a brand new gray shirt, first deployment, and we had 5 Sawyers and 1 Swamper.
Ooh.
So suffice it to say, this particular gray shirt earned his shirt today. So Kevin, come on up. So I don't know if you're familiar with the challenge coin tradition within TR.
I'm not.
So periodically through your journey, you will be recognized by a coin. In this case, it's a poker chip. Okay? This is a symbol of recognition. And your responsibility now is to pass this on to somebody else. So, welcome to the tribe.
I didn't know this was coming. I didn't know that the guys who were working with me today. Smart guys, hardworking guys, experienced guys. We're gonna thank me for putting this on. I'm mostly out of my comfort zone because I'm around a lot of people who I very quickly hold in high regard, and it makes you humble to be around them. I was not expecting it. Don't know if I deserve it, but now that I've got it, proud to have it, and I guess I'm gonna think long and hard about who I give it to.
On the next Team Rubicon.
I don't even know why I cry at this all the time. I feel like such a punk.
While some volunteers face life after the military, the survivors of Hurricane Ian struggle with the memory.
As soon as the water started getting up, as soon as like the refrigerator flipped,
You can get
I said,
stuff.
it's a death trap.
We do accept hugs.
Okay.
We do accept hugs.
Oh, thank you again.